Today we're doing a segment about something important. I find this topic to be pretty important. I imagine some of you guys will think of it as just, unimportant YouTuber drama stuff. It's not really drama necessarily. It's more so just something happening in the sphere of YouTube, right? And it may seem unimportant, but when it comes to the livelihood and the ability to continue creating content and existing on this platform for a well-beloved person in this space, I think it's worth talking about and raising awareness about. Dylan Burns is a good friend of the show. I really like his foreign policy. He's been a long time, chill bro in the space, and I've appreciated him for quite some time. I respect what he's doing in Ukraine a lot. And his foreign policy takes just don't miss, which is a lot. It's a lot to expect in the left to have good foreign policy positions from these lefty figures, So his foreign policy being so on the point and him basically being the go-to lefty figure on foreign policy lends a lot of respect to his name, at least in my opinion. Here's the thing though. Dylan Burns does a lot of news and war coverage, which means it is very easy to, despite the fact he breaks no terms of service or rules, and he is very careful to do so, he breaks none of the rules of the platforms he uploads his content onto. He breaks, once again, clarifying, because conservatives love to reply to videos like this with, well, you're the ones who support the bans, and it's no. We support bans if people break the very reasonable guidelines and rules that they agreed to when they signed up. Not false bans and false strikes being falsely leveraged in cases where, even in the end, YouTube admits the strike was false. Every time I get a false strike on my channel, and I talk about it, Nazis and conservatives flood to my channel to tell me, well, you had this coming because you support this for conservatives. It's I support conservatives getting banned when they receive... When they send death threats to people, or they encourage harassment, or downright encourage genocidal hate. Not when YouTube just glitches out and sends a false strike that after numerous appeal attempts, a human finally reviews, admits was a false strike, and removes. Because they admit it was a mistake. So no, YouTube is not in favor of this, even, nor is the left the ones who advocated for it. But I know conservatives will very strongly flock to the comments of this video to comment this in regards to this. But Dylan Burns has been repeatedly, over and over again, falsely striked by YouTube. This is the 6th, maybe 7th time it's happened now. Let's look into it. He has now been demonetized. Update on our demonetization. October 16th, channel demonetized for harassment policy violation. Nothing he has done is harassment. In this instance, it is the most obvious mistake on YouTube's part ever. October 17th, email appeal rejected. Sensitive content? They'll do this as well. They will change the reason for the strike after you submit an appeal. They've done this to me before. There was a time where I received a false strike that stuck on my channel for literal years before I had it removed. It was what removed my warning, because you get a warning and then you get 3 strikes and then you're out. Your channel's deleted forever. I had lost my warning for years due to a strike on a video, and the strike was for misinformation or spam. And then I appealed it twice, and on the second appeal, the reason for the strike updated to hate speech. It was on the Geeks and Gamers Brie Larson video I did, where they striked me for covering Geeks and Gamers and making fun of him for obsessing with Brie Larson. They updated the reason to hate speech, and eventually, over a year later, 2 years later, I believe, I was able to get YouTube to remove it after much back and forth on Twitter. They doubled down several times on Twitter, and every time I quote tweeted them with, "I guess you support hate speech." That's what I was debunking in my video, and all my fans followed up with the same in the replies, and eventually a human got to it and removed the issue. And now, my channel's in perfectly good standing. So yeah, they updated the false reason for his monetization getting removed. October 20th, At Team YouTube, review denied, quote, reused content. So they once again updated the reason for the strike. So this is literally the AI bots that run YouTube's algorithm behind the scenes, consistently changing the reason for the strike over and over again. And then once again, a email reaffirming another rejection, once again switching it back to harassment policy. So it goes from harassment, sensitive content, reused content, to harassment policy violation with each appeal that Dylan does to YouTube. This is, of course, quote tweeting YouTube, following up by saying, hey, following up with an update. After taking another look, the decision stands. However, we've sent you another email with more information and can continue the convo there. And then Dylan adds, stop adding silly AI edits to the serious posts about demonetization, Dan. I think that's to like his editor, maybe? I'm not sure. Someone probably knows. Here's the thing, though. Dylan also followed it up with a video. One that we're about that Dan runs his account. Ah, I see. So he was posting memes. Oh, partially runs it. Okay. That makes sense. Anyway, Dylan also follows it up with a video captioned with the following: hello again at Team YouTube. We respect your guidelines and want to rectify our situation. Can you please provide details on the specific violation that led to our demonetization? Understanding the issue fully will help us address it effectively. Thank you for your assistance. And then here's the link to the video, which we're about to watch right now.
I find the work fulfilling. I like documenting history. I do genuinely believe that journalism is the first draft of history, and having a good first draft is necessary for future generations. And I want to make sure that people are getting good on-the-ground coverage and that I stay connected with you guys, because you guys have brought me a very long way from when I started doing this when I was 18, and I want to keep on this journey with you guys. You know, it's a bump in the road. We're going to find a way around it. It's a pretty big financial bump in the road, but we'll figure it out here. We figured out everything before. We'll figure it out again at Team YouTube. Come on. Give me a break. A little break. Just a tiny bit break. Come on. Just a little itty bitty break. Come on. Come on. How many of your YouTubers can say that they've gotten shelled, try to create content, document history on your channel? Just come on. Just give me a break on that. Just a little bit. A little bit. A little.
The Russians literally shelled him while he was in Ukraine, by the way. As in, on video, he and a group of people were outside a building. They suddenly heard a shell incoming. They ran for cover, and the guy right next to Dylan, who was a British journalist, was like near mortally wounded and had to be immediately rushed to medical treatment. Otherwise, he would have died. That is how literally shelled Dylan got by the Russians, trying to do war coverage for YouTube. And this is how YouTube repays him. I have no doubt this is probably because of mass reporting. All it really takes on YouTube is to mass report a channel enough that the algorithm just scans their channel, finds something that the bots just detect as like a little sussy. They ascribe a random strike reason to it, and then you have to go through the rings of hell to get in contact with the real human at YouTube to get it fixed. So this is my advice to Dylan. I hope he checks out this video, and if anything, hopefully this can get clipped by, like, Dylan Burns fans, and this clip can get sent to him so he can, like, watch it. But I had a strike on my channel, a false strike, that had been on my channel since 2019. And about 6 months ago, I was finally able to get it removed. And the way I did this was after I'd gotten banned from Twitter, so I wasn't able to do it with my own Twitter account. I had to have my editor do it. This is how, like, sure I am that this method works, is it wasn't even me doing it. My editor's account was the one working with YouTube for this. Every day, we set a timer. You see, on Twitter allows you to set scheduled tweets. Like, you can schedule a tweet to go out. And it's pretty easy to do so. You just set the date and time. So I set it so that at 11 a.m. every day, we had Cherry set it so that at 11 a.m. every day, an automated tweet would go out to @TeamYouTube breaking down the problem. And every time YouTube had their canned response, so we had our canned reach out. And eventually, a human was on the other end of that tweet received that tweet and actually fixed the problem. It took a lot of responses from my own fans telling YouTube to get their shit together saying, so you support hate speech or you support like the things that I oppose, which are things that YouTube does not support, at least not publicly. So saying that they do, and that is the message that you're getting from their actions, is a good way to get a real human's attention on the YouTube like Twitter account, the YouTube creators Twitter account. So really what you have to do is you have to do what I call pulling an Andy Dufresne. That is literally what I call it. I call it pulling an Andy Dufresne. What you have to do is literally daily. If that seems like too much, you can do it weekly, but honestly, daily isn't too much. Daily, automate tweets at YouTube. If you can, automate emails at YouTube, requesting an appeal, explaining that this is a false strike, that what you stand for is absolutely opposite of what it is you've been striked for, and that this is a massive mistake in the system, and you need to have as much audience support as possible. You need to be actively telling your audience that without their help, it's over, and that they need to help you, because that could, if things get bad enough, that could theoretically be the case, so it's not necessarily an over-exaggeration, but if you want to get things fixed, you need your audience to be motivated like it is the end of your career if they do not help you, because that is how much attention those tweets need to be getting for YouTube to actually do something about it the vast majority of the time. But they will. If you just spam them, then it could be a month from now, probably less. They will fix the problem. And that's my advice to Dylan. It's not perfect. It's not ideal. Don't get me wrong. Like, ideally, YouTube wouldn't have these problems, and they'd apply their TOS equally, fairly, and consistently, but they just don't. And AI technology is progressively starting to become adapted, all of its flaws included, into the place of the previous algorithms for YouTube, and that includes moderation. And that learning AI is going to make some serious mistakes in the coming years. We're going to see some big channels get falsely banned out of nowhere because of, like, AI moderators. It's been AI for quite some time, but a far less advanced, far more reliable AI. The AI that they're going to be using now and have been using is far more prone to mistakes.